Manticore Galaxy on Fire is a Nintendo Switch exclusive game that really pleasantly surprised me. It's essentially a sort of flight dogfighting game in space, but on top of stellar visuals, a decent structure and scenario, and honestly just some of the best arcade fun shooting I've had in a long time, especially for any sort of space flight sim. So the story isn't particularly deep or strong. It does the job well enough. You are hired by a mercenary group called Manticore to investigate something that happened called a shattering. I think that's right. And you essentially go through missions sort of uncovering sort of betrayals and other corporations and mining corporations and stuff like that. And essentially a lot of the missions end where you facing against the boss, where you will either need to destroy the ship or just hoard it enough that they get busted. And the story is fully voice acted, which I was really surprised by, especially given that this is a Nintendo Switch exclusive, and the core and the crux of the game is really its gameplay loop and upgrading your ship. So through each level, for the most part, when you finish it, you are given the option to then explore that level, and visually they're very different but striking. And that's probably one of the biggest selling points of this game on Nintendo Switch, is just how good it looks, both on the handheld screen and when you have it up to the TV. Each level is sort of well designed. It's not too big, but yet again, nothing ever feels too small and feels like the hardware is holding it back. It may get a little dull in terms of exploration. You pick up fragments and ship parts, and that's how you sort of upgrade your ship along the way. You can pick two weapons to switch between in the beginning. You have lasers, you have plasma, and you have assault, and different bosses will tell you on the mission screen what their weakness is. So what you can do is you can sort of change your weapons as you go to sort of better cope each scenario. And the game isn't particularly hard or easy in certain ways. The controls of the game feel very intuitive, easy to play, and in that sense it's quite arcadey. But the bosses themselves can offer quite a good challenge, and it's not in the frustration way, it's in the dogfighting way of this is still a game where you need to sort of get behind the enemy, get out of his rain of fire, and just keep going and sort of maneuver yourself in a way, outmaneuver them, and then sort of find a way to get behind them. But it's in through that, and then also getting the parts you need to upgrade and switch around. There's a lot here. It's a surprising amount of game here to improve both your ship and get around the game. The galaxy map is rather big. Like I said, each level looks incredible and is so well detailed. That's one of the things I hope that you can see in this video, is just how good this game looks. Now remember, this is running on Nintendo Switch, and I was really blown away by how good the game looked. I really enjoyed how it played. Each level isn't particularly long. You'll go from just taking out waves of enemies to protecting ships to just chasing down boss enemies, and there's a good variety, and it's changed up enough that I never felt any sort of grind or tedium set in. It's honestly just one of the probably the biggest pleasant surprise on Nintendo Switch this year so far.